A lot of news has come out against MrBeast recently with the drop of Dogpack404's latest video, but so has a lot of criticism towards Dogpack himself. Since my last video, the entire cease and desist that was sent to Dogpack in July was finally revealed by Daily Mail, which alleges many different things against him. Now, I have exclusive DMs with Dogpack regarding certain aspects of this now public cease and desist, which we will go over in this video, where he responds to various allegations in the cease and desist, such as alleging he was fired for trying to use company funds to buy a toy, claiming he only worked at MrBeast for 3 weeks, which is not the length he stated publicly, and that apparently he pleaded and begged for his job back in a 1-hour recorded call. And there's also entire sections dedicated to digging up old posts on Dogpack404's alternate Reddit account, where he expressed all sorts of different criticisms for MrBeast before he even worked there. So we've got a lot to go over. Grab a snack, lock in, big drama update, let's get started. So firstly, a long thread was dropped by Cope and Seethe, which includes a section about the unreleased cease and desist that was sent to Dogpack, and it digs through his old Reddit account. I'm going to go over this thread, and I've asked Dogpack questions regarding specific points in this thread, so I'll intersperse my questions and his responses as we go down it. So the thread starts off with Cope and Seethe saying, "So the Daily Mail released an article on the MrBeast stuff a few days ago, where they included the full CD and named Dogpack404. And as we were thinking of having a look at him anyway, here's a thread and a video. Enjoy." And then he links a Daily Mail article that was posted on August 27th, just a few days ago, with the title, "MrBeast hires $2,000 an hour super lawyer who exonerated Alec Baldwin in Rust shooting trial as employee who quit after 3 weeks brands YouTuber a sociopath." Obviously, that employee being Dogpack404. The Daily Mail article goes over a few things, such as referencing the whole Delaware situation, but most importantly about this article is that they leak the entire cease and desist that was sent to Dawson allegedly. Now, this was sent on July 31st after the first video that Dawson made, but I'm just going to go ahead and read the cease and desist for you. There is a lot of stuff in here that's really interesting. It starts off saying, "Dear Mr. French, this firm, Quinn," and I'm not going to even attempt to butcher that name, "has recently been retained by MrBeast YouTube LLC and its founder Jimmy Donaldson regarding the unsettling news that you have embarked on a campaign to disparage MrBeast as a company and defame Jimmy Donaldson as an individual. Not only are your statements about MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson untrue, they also violate the clear, binding, enforceable terms of your confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement with MrBeast, dated March 25th, 2024, the NDA agreement, which you have shown in videos posted on the internet. Absent your immediate compliance with the demands specified herein, MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson are prepared to take the necessary legal steps to protect their reputation and business. Even then, we have reason to believe that your conduct has already adversely impacted MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson, and we reserve all rights to pursue money damages to rectify any and all harm you may have caused. 1. Violations of the social media restriction. When you joined MrBeast as a trial period employee in March of 2024, you voluntarily entered into a binding NDA agreement with MrBeast. That NDA agreement included a social media restriction clause, which survives your departure from the company. It provides social media restriction. Employee shall not post anything on social media about the company, Jimmy Donaldson, or the employee's employment with the company. You have willfully violated this clause by posting about MrBeast, Jimmy Donaldson, and your employment with MrBeast on social media. Specifically, you have made numerous posts to Reddit with the username MrBeastCreative, and to Twitter and YouTube under the username @Dogpack404. In one video, you even held up your NDA agreement with MrBeast while willfully violating its terms by discussing MrBeast and publicly posting the video on YouTube. In your videos and posts, you have levied false and defamatory allegations against MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson. You have no understanding of the inner workings of MrBeast, given that you only spent 3 weeks at the company on a trial basis before you were fired for conduct even you have characterized as inappropriate. You did not make it to the end of your 90-day trial period without repeatedly ignoring your supervisor and then attempting to secretly spend company resources on something you described as a, quote, toy. During your brief period at MrBeast, you sought to attribute your inappropriate conduct to programming from being raised with access to an iPad and bad mental health. But there is no excuse for acknowledging the terms of your agreement while simultaneously going out of your way to violate them. On your last day at MrBeast in April, the day you were fired, you pleaded for your job back, insisting MrBeast was a place you wanted to work. You asked for a second chance for your trial period, and you asked to later reapply to the company. You even sought advice on how to be successful if you were to apply to work for MrBeast again in the future. Unlike the narratives you spun to cast yourself as the victim when being terminated for conduct that at a minimum demonstrates a lack of judgment, your communicated desire to be a part of MrBeast remained unchanged over the course of that nearly hour-long meeting. That is because the information you were exposed to during your trial period at MrBeast confirmed that it is a great company and a great place to work. Your more recent social media posts occurred at a time when you would have had no new information or insight from inside MrBeast. Instead of speaking about the positive experience you had at MrBeast that apparently caused you to so desperately want to return to the company, your posts contain misinformation and false statements designed to harm MrBeast and Jimmy Donaldson. 2. Violations of the confidential information provision. Your NDA agreement with MrBeast also contains a provision prohibiting the disclosure of any proprietary or confidential information you gained during the roughly 3 weeks you worked at MrBeast as a trial employee. That includes the following: information or media about Jimmy Donaldson, employee and personnel information, any manuals, procedures, processes, forms, systems, guidelines, and other proprietary information developed and obtained by the company for use in its business and related documents, materials, knowledge, or other confidential business information of any nature whatsoever disclosed to or developed by employee, technical and business information and strategies relating to methods, marketing, merchandising, selling, licensing, servicing, customer lists, records or financial information, manuals or company strategic plans or operational objectives. Your trial period employee agreement provides additional obligations not to disclose the following forms of proprietary or confidential information: any information regarding Jimmy Donaldson and any MrBeast related content or any content captured on MrBeast sets, premises, locations used by MrBeast, the employer's methods, policies, procedures, techniques, research or development projects, marketing information of any kind, financial information of any kind, trade secrets, branding relationships, customer contacts, or other knowledge possessed by the employer which are not generally known by individuals outside of the employer, including the employer's employees, consultants, and advisors. Though often misguided and ill-informed due to your brief and limited employment at MrBeast, you have been posting on Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit about MrBeast's video production methods, view generation techniques, and employee and personnel information. These unauthorized disclosures appear to be a deliberate attempt to harm MrBeast's business. They are also in violation of the agreements you signed with MrBeast. You are not permitted to share any information that touches on the above categories to any person. 3. MrBeast's demands. It should be apparent from this letter that MrBeast takes your unlawful conduct seriously and is committed to getting to the bottom of each and every violation of your agreements during your brief trial period with MrBeast and subsequent to your departure. Among other potential claims, MrBeast believes your conduct gives rise to claims against you for breach of contract and defamation. Please be advised that MrBeast is prepared to seek damages, injunctions, attorney fees, and costs in accordance with its contractual rights, as well as such other relief as it may be entitled to under the aforementioned causes of action. For the avoidance of doubt, because you complained of a lack of clarity in your nearly hour-long recorded termination meeting, MrBeast is prepared to take appropriate legal action against you if you do not cease posting and delete all previous posts about MrBeast, including Jimmy Donaldson and any person currently or formerly affiliated with MrBeast, by August 1st of 2024. You were first warned about MrBeast's intention to seek legal action in a letter dated July 25th, 2024. This is the final warning before MrBeast will have you served with papers initiating a lawsuit against you. Sincerely, Alex Spyro. So before continuing this thread by Cope and Seethe, I want to show some direct responses from Dogpack regarding a couple aspects of this cease and desist. I reached out to Dogpack and asked him a couple questions. First, I asked him this. Looking into covering some of the contents of this thread for a video, but figured I'd reach out to offer if you want to do an off-air, recorded interview about any of this info. And he responded saying, feel free to ask me anything. Mentioning one part of the cease and desist, saying the toy thing is a complete lie. And I said, okay, sure, gotcha. In terms of the cease and desist, they obviously claim your reasons for being terminated from the company was this story with the 1, ignoring the supervisor, and 2, this toy. What is your understanding as to why you were let go? And Dogpack responded, after my first manager left, I honestly didn't even know who my new supervisor was. And I don't think the company did either. I was left unsupervised for like a week, lol. During that week, the toy was about a business expense request I sent to IT for an Apple Vision Pro. When those were new, the company seemed bullish on them as the future of content consumption, and I was told that they wanted to get everyone one eventually. So I requested one instead of a monitor. Now I think they're trash, but at the time it sounded cool. I got berated for sending the request to IT. I literally said, quote, I wasn't trying to swindle the company for some toy, end quote, referring to it not being a toy. They also could have just denied the request, but it got approved, and then this new guy who claimed to be my supervisor berated me for sending the request to the wrong person. And I responded, okay, understood. Is this situation with IT and the Apple Vision Pro, plus the lack of a supervisor, what the cease and desist refers to as, quote, conduct even you have characterized as inappropriate? And if so, did you say anything of the like at the time? Dogpack responded, no idea honestly. There is a lot of inappropriate conduct from everyone at that company. I'm not a yes man, so I pushed back frequently. And I said, alright, with that, another part of the cease and desist claims you only worked there for 3 weeks. Of course, this is contradictory to your claims, such as statements made on Reddit. Is this a lie? And if so, what is your official timeline for your tenure at MrBeast? And Dogpack responds, off the top of my head, I think my official contracted time was March 25th to April 19th. However, I started doing unpaid work around February 22nd, which is when I stopped posting on Reddit and signed an NDA. Then I arrived in Greenville on March 10th. Also, when I was let go, I was told that if I signed the transition agreement, I could get my full 90-day pay, and they told me I could put the full time on my resume and LinkedIn. The day I was let go, I was also contacted by one of Jimmy's close friends, who has a company that does work for Jimmy. He said he wanted to hire me, but had to get permission from MrBeast. I started working for him almost immediately. I have proof of all of this I can send you. And then he sends me redacted proof, which one is a Reddit message from someone, where the Reddit message says, hey mate, this is my throwaway Reddit account, but I run the ideas team at MrBeast. Shoot me a text at blank so we can find a time to chat. If other people have pretended to work for Beast DM'd you, I'm happy to provide proof if needed. And then he attaches another image which seem to be text messages, where it starts off with Dogpack saying, it's up, where's this NDA at? I'm itching to know what you're cooking up over there. And this person responds, I sent it to HR earlier. They will get to it ASAP. And then sometime later on Thursday, February 22nd at 2:32 p.m., they respond, what's your full name? Then he attaches a reservation for Hilton, which the reservation shows that it was on March 10th, 2024 with a confirmation number, and then a Dawson monthly invoice where it shows Dogpack, also known as Dawson's email, sending an email to accounts where it says invoice from April 23rd, 2024 to May 23rd, 2024, and he says thanks, and then the accounts email responds, thanks for sending an email to blank accounts team. We will get back to you shortly. Simultaneously, as he was sending me that proof, I was responding with a follow-up question to his timeline response, where I showed a screenshot from this video, which was the initial video that he posted on Twitter before he made any YouTube videos. Allegedly, I believe that's how the timeline went. It was before Dawson made part 1. He posted this video on Twitter, so I'm going to play it for you guys. I have to mute the intro for copyright reasons, but this is the video.
Hold on, let me turn off the music. I'm outside MrBeast's studio right now. Here's a cornfield. I'll explain that tomorrow. I've just been driving by looking to see, you know, is there an FBI raid going on? What's happening? My name's Dawson. I worked at MrBeast from February to May of this year, 2024. Chris is the tip of the iceberg. And when Jake the Viking says MrBeast knew, yeah, MrBeast knew. I heard many times that Ava, Chris Tyson, is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything, MrBeast is done. Amazon, if you can get your money back, get your money back.
And in this video, he verbally says that he worked at MrBeast from February all the way up until May, with a part on screen here correcting the May to June, saying that he worked at MrBeast till June. So of course, obviously this is a contradiction, so I just wanted to clarify, why were you saying that you worked up until June? And I said, so there's this section from your original video where you claim you worked until May with a correction to June. A more accurate description would be what you described above, yes? And he responded to this saying, yeah, that video is just based on pay stub receipts. On the books, I was employed, and they told me I could say I was employed for the full period of my contract, but I left April 19th and I started working remote for Jimmy's friend. And so then I asked Dogpack about the 1 hour call where he was allegedly let off. So I said, is there truly a 1 hour call as they claim where you pleaded for your job back after being fired? And if so, why? He responded, I didn't know they recorded that meeting, but yeah, I was at a low point. I did not want to get fired. I worked hard to get there and felt like I was being fired for BS. And then Cope and Seeth continues their thread by saying, so it seems that this lines up with Dogpack working for MrBeast for around 3 weeks, from the time he signed the NDA to the 19th of April. This may come as a surprise to some, as his Reddit AMA is a bit misleading. Also, to no one's surprise, that NDA looks like it could be an issue for him. And then he puts a picture in his thread, which is a Reddit thread where it starts off with OK instruction asking Dogpack404, where they say, any anonymous proof of employment? And Dogpack responds, I showed my face with pay subs on my Twitter. And Useful Impact 6793 says, is there a reference to be later disclosed with the beginning Kendrick line? In the video, you mention employments from February to May, but post says March to May. Just curious, why the difference? And Dogpack responds, I was working a bit with them in February, trial period in March, and then 90-day contract from April 1st to end of June. Kendrick's song references current allegations against Chris Tyson. Then Cope and Seeth references the part about why Dogpack got fired, and they find it funny, and then they continue their thread saying, so as most of you will know, Dogpack's third video has been getting less than positive responses due to the claims within it. So let's move on and just dig into him a bit. Dogpack is mostly known on Reddit as MrBeast Creative, but to really understand him, we'll need to introduce you to his alt, that 5head guy. Then he links a Nick DiOrio tweet where Nick says, it's actually so fucked how bad that new Dogpack video is. I'm addicted to watching people react to it, so I know who's full of shit. Then quoting Dogpack, where Dogpack says, I say allegedly because there are a lot of James Warrens in North Carolina, so I'm looking into it, versus he offered employees cocaine, maybe. And there's an entire section where Dogpack and Nick DiOrio go back and forth later in this video, but continuing this thread, then he attaches an image of the MrBeast Creative account saying, no connections, my application exists on Reddit, my alt is that 5head guy. And then a post from that 5head guy on a MrBeast subreddit 6 months ago with the title, Pitching Ideas Until Something Happens, Final Day, where there is a image attached where it says, now what, Lamau? And then the image, which is Dogpack speaking, says, hey guys, it's been a long journey. Not really, I was prepared to go until day 1000, but I am happy to announce that I am in talks with the MrBeast team. I'm not sure what happens from here, but I am going to shift my focus into learning as much as I can from them and hopefully make something out with this opportunity. I couldn't have done this without the support from this wonderful subreddit. So thank you. Goodbye for now. Then Cope and Seeth continues their thread saying, this alt seems to be the reason he was hired. Basically, he used the subreddit to get the attention of the MrBeast team. Showing another post from that 5head guy where it is again pitching ideas until something happens, day 10. Now honestly, I debated playing this video in its entirety for you guys, but I did reach out to Dogpack and he verified that it is okay if I do so. And so this video is one of the many applications that Dogpack publicly sent to MrBeast to work at his company. He talks about the way that he views YouTube, analytics, click-through rates. There's a lot of similar points here and there to the MrBeast document that was leaked, which I covered on my channel the other week. So I think it's relevant to pretty much this entire drama. So here is the full video.
Mr.
Today, we're going to be begging for a job in the MrBeast subreddit. Today, I wanted to do a video showing my process of coming up with ideas. This is sort of to show the MrBeast team how I operate, but also I think this could be a good resource for other people trying to do YouTube. Which, by the way, someone from MrBeast did DM me, and I did send him the $1,000, so something should be happening pretty soon. I'm going to talk broadly about how I approach problems, systems framework, thinking from first principles, feedback and iteration, and just how these concepts apply to YouTube and coming up with ideas. For me, when I'm tasked with solving a problem, I spend more time breaking down the problem than I do actually trying to solve it. So I view the universe as a hierarchy of systems. Quarks make up atoms, which make up molecules, DNA, organelles, cells, organisms, organizations, and so on. The universe sorts itself into these higher complexity systems over time, like a self-solving puzzle. And this evolution process exists everywhere, not just in nature. Animals evolve, cars evolve, YouTube videos evolve, all according to survival of the fittest. Anyway, the same way an organism or a car is made up of smaller components, so is a YouTube video. And since there's no lexicon for the anatomy of a video, I'll just refer to all subsystems as components to keep it simple. So every video exists as a hierarchy of components that evolve to have better environmental fitness. For example, a thumbnail evolving to have better CTR or AVD. Now with content, if you try to follow any of these hierarchical threads down to their lowest fundamental truths, you'll usually end up at studies on viewer psychology, the limbic system, or human evolution, just like the innate human desires. So the environmental fitness of content seems to be how well it induces a state of satisfaction in the viewer, or content. Content is content. Now, really, first principles and analogy are a spectrum, essentially just how low on the hierarchy you go to find components to assemble something new. You wouldn't build a car thinking about atoms. I don't build a YouTube video thinking about pupil arousal graphs. Also, the more components you change, the wider the variation in success is. So if a system of components is very successful, then usually a small iteration on that system will also be successful. And generally, the closer you are to an optimal system, the less components you want to change, which is why the design of a spoon hasn't changed in 100 years, or why every iPhone seems like a smaller iteration of the previous iPhone. And of course, not all components, like not all genes, are created equal. So the goal, as I see it, is to identify and collect viral components and then assemble them in new ways to create a new improved system. I do this sort of like pessimistic perfectionist juggling act of like identifying the worst component in the system, improving it, and then identifying the next worst component in the system, improving it, and so on. Also, in evaluating a component, I not only factor in virality, but also barrier to entry. For example, the slow-mo guys can use a $400,000 camera. Most YouTubers can't. MrBeast can build elaborate sets, travel anywhere, film with celebrities. These are good advantages to leverage to build successful systems that other people aren't able to replicate. There's also a third thing I consider, which is how beneficial a component is for humanity. If you only focus on optimizing for viewer satisfaction, you end up making digital opium, essentially. I think this is incredibly important. Logically, humans are the most important species for the continuation of life on Earth, which is all life as we know it. The primary mechanism for human learning and development outside of the womb is play. During play is when humans naturally download the most information into their brain. And play has remained largely the same for the past 50 million years, essentially outdoor social, mental and physical experimentation of the self and other foreign bodies. So only in the past decade has the most important mechanism for the development of the most important species changed drastically from unstructured outdoor play to indoor screenplay. So I really can't stress enough how important I think it is to make sure that beneficial content goes viral. So in summary, humanity is very important. Play is the primary driver for humanity. YouTube is play. You literally play a video. The logo is a play button. So I've studied play a lot. Carl Groos, an early play theorist, wrote 2 books, The Play of Animals and The Play of Man, on the evolutionary purpose of play and what types of play humans naturally enjoy. So that's what this is. A while ago, I had an interview with someone on the Beast team. They asked me to come up with variations on the would you do blank for money format. One way I would build from analogy would be to change the type of play component and come up with ideas that way. But I think ChatGPT could come up with like 1,000 of those ideas a minute. I mean, I would rather spend more time thinking and trying to build from first principles. So how do you identify success and iterate towards it? In an ideal world, you would have just one metric to optimize for. In this example, it was wind resistance. You can make small tweaks, see how they affect the metric in real time, and make adjustments until you achieve an optimal system. Iteration and feedback, which are the two fundamental steps in any evolutionary loop. A system can evolve faster in two ways. One is by accelerating the iteration loop itself. For example, brine shrimp can evolve faster than blue whales because they have shorter generations and they produce more offspring. Or two, by gaining understanding into the relationship between the iteration and the feedback, which is uniquely human and insanely overpowered. So let's say you have 100 units of matter and you have to place them on this grid with the goal of reducing horizontal wind resistance as much as possible. You can imagine that by testing every single possible iteration, you would eventually arrive at the optimal solution. But that would take a super long time, obviously. But you could cut down the time significantly by better understanding the problem. For example, understanding that you want to reduce surface area, or understanding that the solution will be horizontally symmetrical. And if you go further and you can steal like an artist and find a similar solution that exists as a component of another system, you can arrive at the optimal solution incredibly fast. But obviously, if you make false assumptions, it can take longer or be impossible to find the optimal solution. So the more you understand, the faster you can improve, which is obvious, but hopefully this demonstration shows just how powerful knowledge is. So what is feedback on YouTube? There are obvious metrics like click-through rate and retention, so we can look at those. So in this example, just looking at the data, which of these two thumbnails is better? It's a trick question because in this one, Jimmy has his willy out. So, this demonstrates the issue with measuring success using short-term metrics like click-through rate. Well, it looks good short-term, might be terrible long-term and vice versa. So personally, this is what I consider to be ideal packaging for a YouTube video. It's not visually optimized, but you see it and you know exactly what the video is about. The only reason someone would click on this video is if they want to see a horse kick a tree, fart on dogs, then run away. You don't miss out on viewers by under-promising, but you also don't frustrate viewers by over-promising. You match expectations exactly. A lot of YouTubers and media entities in general fall into this trap of trading their long-term reputations for short-term success. You used to see it a lot with clickbait, so optimizing CTR doesn't always work, but let's look at retention. Of these charts, which is better? Well, to the algorithm, the top may look better and it may get promoted more. It has a higher average view duration, meaning a lot of viewers are sticking around until the end. This is true. But let's add some context here. And this is where I will attempt to criticize a MrBeast video. Keep in mind that this is just my opinion. I could be wrong. When you hear this description, what are your expectations?
This is a $250 million private island. Literally anything you could ever want is on this private island.
You may imagine a biblically accurate heavenly oasis based on what was described, but what if I told you this was the actual island? Maybe not as cool as you expected, but it has a giant solid gold roller coaster, Ferris wheel, a city, and even a circus tent. Well, that's not the real island either. This is basically just a water park. Did it meet your expectations? I would call this watch baiting. Similar to clickbait, it's a way of using deception to exploit flaws in the YouTube algorithm. Unlike clickbait, where expectations are typically broken early in the video leading to lower retention, with watch bait, it's only clear to the viewer that they aren't getting what was advertised by the time they're already at the end of the video, where retention drop-off is much less impactful to video performance. The YouTube algorithm is trying to optimize for viewer satisfaction, but that is an extremely difficult thing to accurately measure, so it has flaws like this. You can't say, watch until the end, it's so insane, in every intro, description, and pinned comment. You become the boy who cried watch, and it has diminishing positive returns as people realize these pleas are meaningless. Now, there are arguments in favor of deceiving the viewer into a more enjoyable experience. With food, for example, this makes your mouth water, and when you get this, you're too busy focusing on the taste to really care about the discrepancy in appearance. And placebos also work. I understand the nuance. My point is just that you have to optimize for long-term success, which means you can't rely on these short-term metrics or rapid feedback loops. I want to introduce one more quick concept before I move on to my ideas. Let's look back at this video system and components. Now, this diagram is obviously a huge oversimplification, but one of the things I left out is the concept of unknown or uncontrolled components that affect a system, like an unscripted reaction. Naturally, as an optimizing system runs out of controlled components to improve, it seeks to control more components so it can improve them. This is how every system in the universe grows. So imagine if in the wind resistance example, you only controlled 80 units of matter and the other 20 randomized. After you optimized the components that you controlled, The only way to optimize further would be to gain control of the random components. I think this level of total control is what Steve Jobs is so passionate about. Pixar can go back in time and move heaven and earth to get the lighting just right. MrBeast loses $250,000 if one shot is out of focus. So for the purpose of optimization, you need control and predictability. But it's not easy to transition from authentic, unscripted content to a fully controllable system. I think this transition problem was apparent with Train versus Pit. Now I get it, you're Jimmy. You walk into the editing room, see this, and think, dang, we should have had train tracks going down the pit. You try to add them in post, but as a viewer, you notice the train tracks look a little off, and you start getting skeptical. Next, you notice the spinning bus wheels look fake. The pit looks fake. Is that guy fake? It just makes everything feel fake when the whole point of the video is that you're doing real experiments. So there was some public backlash against the CGI.
Desist, what is going on?
Okay, so that's all the criticism, and I could be completely wrong. But the point is, in my opinion, I don't think MrBeast especially should ever lie or deceive the audience intentionally. Any slip-ups could be used against Jimmy at any time, permanently staining his reputation and hurting future endeavors. I think you should be transparent to the point where it's a clear handicap, actually, like running with weights on. One good way of doing this would be uploading behind the scenes, which I think there's a lot of demand for. And if you want to make scripted content, you definitely can. Dude Perfect took a big risk with their scripted comedy series, Stereotypes, and it paid off. Experiment. I think you can have total control, just not on content that you're claiming is real and authentic. So in terms of defining YouTube success, I do consider short-term metrics, but I prioritize viewer satisfaction and long-term reputation, which comes from being honest and trying to genuinely benefit humanity. Okay, so now let's look at a viral format and break it down. I'm sure you've seen these videos. They typically combine mental play in the form of trivia usually with some type of physical play, where these types of play are sort of interwoven together, similar to like an A plot and B plot in traditional media. There's also a natural rise in tension over time. I also like the framing, how well the two people fit into the 16:9 aspect ratio. But there are many components I would like to change or add. So the first frame and hook should be much more captivating. Typically with these videos, the climax isn't very rewarding, with one contestant just kind of giving up. No moment of like shock, prize, or celebration. Also, if you look at this channel, the challenges are often very similar and easy for other channels to replicate. Also, typically viral videos have some extreme element, whether it's something that's extremely impressive or advanced or satisfying or cute or funny or relatable or excessive or heartwarming. Most viral content takes some innate human desire to the extreme. Also, I will add one component which doesn't usually improve viewer satisfaction but does improve its performance, which is replayability. This is because most short form content algorithms do incentivize higher average view duration, even beyond 100%. Here, essentially, the physical challenge is this challenge from Survivor where a contestant has to hold a hand above their head to keep a bucket of water from tipping over. Except in my short, it's a clear bucket of chocolate sauce. The contestants are standing on clean white stairs, and the mental challenge is trying to guess what sculpture is being made out of chocolate. The lower part of the frame is a video of this guy who's viral sculpting chocolate, sort of organically imitating split screen TikToks. For one of his sculptures, he melts down Feastables and makes a MrBeast sculpture, which also has an organic call to action to subscribe. Also, this short is so on the nose for a Feastable promo that I wouldn't even say the word Feastables. I wouldn't overdo it and make the short seem like a commercial, and you kind of want Feastables to just be ubiquitous with chocolate. The exciting climax, obviously, is the chocolate sauce pouring out over one contestant while the other contestant celebrates. Maybe they win a prize or Feastables for life or whatever. So this next idea I had was for competitors to take turns trying to score on a basketball hoop that is just wider than the circumference of a basketball, so it's like a satisfying fit. It wasn't working with the two-person vertical format, so I switched that component out with sort of the crowd at the top of the screen, goal at the bottom format instead. And then this next idea is similar, but instead of it primarily being a physical challenge, I wanted to primarily be a mental challenge. So it's based on the viral gold bar challenge, but the glass box is designed like this. So you have to engineer a way to get the gold out. So just bring the challenge to a college campus and watch people flock to try different ways to solve the problem. So here's sort of a simple taxonomical breakdown of the genetics of the YouTube videos or whatever. This is another format I came up with. You basically just put a small set, a camera, and a timer on a college campus, challenging anyone to do something impressive or unexpected or funny, whatever adjective. You quickly show the public reaction to the set, maybe a contestant reading out the rules, like what? And then you go into a montage counting down until the winner. Another similar format would be challenging digital artists to make the most satisfying 10-second video. That's like a hyper-optimized version of the Corridor Cruise, the most satisfying challenge, and then again, you could replace the adjective with anything. A good sponsored version would be handing out Samsung phones to college students and saying, film the coolest thing possible, Most cool video in 24 hours wins 10K.
And that's the end of the video. Copenseed continues saying, however, Jimmy was not Dogpack's first love. It seems that he also did this with the XQC subreddit, until he felt ignored, became annoying, and was told to fuck off. Then Copenseed attaches a few images from that 5head guy, one titled Some Merch Ideas, Surely X Won't Scroll Past This Time, XQCL, where we see this post here where it says Resume Andy. I'm not even going to pretend like I know these memes or the references here, I don't, but I'm just going to read it and do my best. Yo X, I'm an LA juicer. I've worked on influencer merch for Zoomies. Just tell me what you want, I can send you designs to review with chat. It could be good intro content. So working on merch doesn't take away from the stream. I can also help with suppliers, websites, and possibly getting into retail if you want. XQCL. Then an image from the archive website. Then a post by Amon690. Is XQC actually a And there's this whole post here. I'm not even going to verbally read it because it's just crazy, but it's on screen, so pause to read if you like. The next post is that 5head guy posting, surely not a Harone Preston ripoff. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. X, if your designer isn't being upfront about copying and using AI, they might be ripping you off. XQCL. And then the comment here saying, sorry for going schizo again, but mods deleted my last post before most people could see it, and X is still in denial. Yes, I'm jealous. Yes, I'm balding at 22. Yes, I get no bitches. Mediocre XQC merch designs are all I have, Pepe hands. I don't think it's X's fault if he didn't know his designer was yoinking, but I don't understand going so far to defend him unless the designer was up front. At this point, X should just go on Midjourney with chat and make the art himself. That's all. Sorry for posting again, but wanted to get this out of there. Mods, please don't delete. I think this is fair criticism, and I send no hate to any designers since I don't know if they were upfront with X or not, but secretly yoinking is cringe. Then he continues saying, also despite Dogpack's claims to have never been a drug user, that alt seems to tell a different story. At one point on our stories, funnily enough. And then it shows a tweet that Dogpack made where he says, on drug use accusations, to be clear, because some people can't tell when I'm joking, I have never been a drug user. Weed makes me anxious. I tried microdosing shrooms for depression and anxiety for a week over 3 months ago. Honestly, the taste just made me sick, so I stopped. Wouldn't recommend anyone to use illicit drugs, but I'd consider myself an advocate for psychedelic research. Don't really care to filter everything I say through lawyers and PR people because sometimes I say dumb shit, but my video was well researched. I'd obviously rather MrBeast just focus on disproving the evidence than trying to publicly destroy my character with baseless drug use and mental health accusations. But it appears that's the only option they have. Also, I literally smoked 500 cigarettes before writing this, and this was posted on August 1st, which, to reference the cease and desist earlier, just a day after it was allegedly sent to him. But then there is a post that is linked here from that 5head guy, which was made on Friday, December 8th, 2023, so just about 9 months ago, on the subreddit stories with the title, I think I died. And Dogpack says, dude, when I read this, it reminded me exactly of my first shallow DMT experience. Shallow meaning I didn't go to hyperspace and interact with alien beings of unfathomable intelligence that spoke with light, but rather more of the in-between space. My experience was almost exactly the same. For 1 to 2 minutes, I was out, fully left my body and felt extremely at peace. My girlfriend was cuddling me at the time and said my eyes opened and my fingertips started to go cold. But I still had a heartbeat, so she wasn't too worried. And then another post on the Sunshine State Shrooms subreddit on December 12th with the title, are any of these anything? And it says, know very little about foraging. These were just very common on a local trail, so would have been cool if they were cubes or something. Then there is a post on the RDMT subreddit with the title, been sitting in my hot car for months, Lamau. Recoverable or trash, posted by that 5head guy. And then 10 minutes later he posts, yeah, I wouldn't risk it as is. I don't know if it's possible to add it to the bark of a future extraction or something to recover it, or if it's just useless at this point. And then Copenseed continues on their thread here where they say that's not all from the alts, but before we get into it, here is Dogpack posting on main about Jimmy being the Antichrist, something he also seems to have included in his Google Doc. And there's a Reddit post attached here where he says, I guess some talking points you tinfoil hatters might find interesting. 1, YouTubers are financially incentivized to promote consumerism to their young audiences because advertisers are willing to pay more attention. And 2, multiple MrBeast employees, including real Christians, suggested to me that MrBeast may be under the control of Satan. And 3, lots of weirdos at the company see Chris Tyson. And someone asked him if he can expand on point 2, and he did by saying, I'm not Christian, but something about the book of Revelation. Jimmy bought a church and converted it to a studio, literally removing imagery of Jesus and replacing it with the mark of the beast. He also died and rose on the 3rd day, 50 hours buried alive. He performs great miracles, also endorses Neuralink, which apparently adds up to 666 somehow. People I spoke to very strongly believed Neuralink was the mark of the beast. Yeah, probably other stuff I'm forgetting. Then the thread continues, back to the alt. Dogpack has made a lot of claims about MrBeast and lists himself as a former employee to support this. But these claims aren't new. He was making these claims long before he worked there. Allegations that MrBeast wasn't using random subscribers in his videos back in December 2023. And then the post says on the MrBeast subreddit with the title, didn't see anybody talking about this, so Bailey worked for MrBeast. He was an editor for MrBeast, won $10,000, and also won a freaking house. Then there is a post from that 5head guy from December 31st, 2023. If you want to see him help those less fortunate, watch the philanthropy channel. Most of the contestants on MrBeast are people in the industry. And then there is another post with the title, how much would it cost if MrBeast did fake all his videos? Where that 5head guy responds, depends what you consider fake. Scripting and misleading editing are pretty standard at this point. He doesn't use random subscribers as much, and everyone he works with signs an NDA, so the risk of a leak are pretty low. Look how long it took for the influencer hide-and-seek video to get exposed. Personally, I think it's stupid to fake things as much as he does. And then the thread continues where Copenseed says, he accused MrBeast of running shady sweepstakes in February. You know, while he was apparently working with them. And it shows that 5head guy replying to a post titled MrBeast Lottery, where the post by Spunky Monkey says, set up like the regular US lottery where there are weekly drawings, but instead of the government's taking a part of the money, MrBeast uses it to fund things while also allowing winners. Saw a TikTok saying someone should do this, and MrBeast is the only one who could pull this kind of thing off. And that 5head guy responds, lottery would be illegal, but this is essentially what all his sweepstakes are. And then posts from February 17th, 2024. 2 different posts, both on MrBeast. The first one says, I'm gonna be honest, advertising a sweepstake with a no purchase necessary clause is sketchy. No shit, but you can still comply with regulations. He's opening himself up to criticism down the line. Hershey's could respond by saying he has to promote gambling to children and bribe people to eating his chocolate. It shouldn't be possible for a consumer to buy into sweepstakes without ever seeing a no purchase necessary clause. That's just a lottery. If you ever see a sweepstakes advertised on TV, you'll always see the clause on screen. Social media should be no different. This is something Jimmy has gotten in trouble with in the past. It's plain stupid. And then another post with the title, the contest is broken. Turns out, you don't need to buy a Feastables bar to enter the contest. Video proof of how I successfully submitted an entry without buying anything in 60 seconds. And the post says, in the US, all sweepstakes are required to have a free AMOE, alternative method of entry. You're also required to clearly state no purchase necessary when advertising a sweepstakes. Otherwise, it would be an illegal lottery. But YouTubers get away with not doing it for some reason. I guess because through some loophole it's not considered advertising? I don't know, but it's shady as hell. And so because of this criticism and some that we're going to see in a second, I did reach out to Dogpack and ask him a question about this. And so I said, okay, and one last question in regards to this thread. And then I have another one about the document I made a video on if you don't mind. Why did you decide to work for MrBeast if, based on your Reddit history, you already had most, if not all, of your concerns raised before you started working for them? Bad sweepstakes, not real random subs, misleading videos, etc. And Dogpack responded to this question saying, there certainly were things I openly criticized, but there were also a lot of things I openly praised, like the philanthropy. I thought it was an overall good company with some problems. I tried to solve those problems internally, but obviously that didn't work out. Also, I heard of the more serious problems after I was hired, like the Ava/SA stuff. I definitely felt that the company was heading towards an iceberg, but the captains of the ship weren't listening to anybody. Then he attaches an old Reddit post he made on that 5head guy with the post saying, thanks for the reply. As far as what this is, I'm figuring out as I go. If nothing happens, that's cool, but I'm some random. I have over a decade of experience obsessing over YouTube and have worked with big YouTubers in almost every role. I just honestly had an experience that led me to realize the content I was helping make was damaging to society, and I tried to not care about money, so now I'm I'm only interested in working with YouTubers that are actually trying to benefit humanity, of which there are a few. But I think Jimmy has the potential to be the most influential person living during the most pivotal points in human history so far. Like, it sounds crazy, but if you really think about the role content is playing in people's lives, like iPad kids and such, you see that the work you do and content you put out is influencing the future of humanity at a level that's never existed until very recently. It's a scary responsibility some people take too lightly. He then continues in my DMs saying, "It makes me cringe how much I used to like MrBeast. I genuinely thought it was a company trying to change the world. I thought Jimmy was some genius visionary, but now I think he just wants as much money and power as possible. I really don't understand his motives." Then Coffeezilla continues saying, "His criticism of TeamSeas isn't new either. He seemed pretty critical on alt. Interestingly, by March, he's much more positive. Nice to see him back to normal after he got fired." Then a post on December 28th, 2023 on the MrBeast subreddit with the title, "Question about Big Dog Ranch Rescue. Most big actors in philanthropy are in it for unethical reasons. Look at how the world's largest plastic polluter sponsored TeamSeas, Coca-Cola. Look into the company's funding MrBeast food banks, factory farms, deforestation groups, or the other companies that sponsor his charities. They're all shady. It goes something like this. A person provides genuine value to the world. In exchange for their products/services, the world makes them wealthy. Leeches try to attach themselves to that person to extract their wealth and influence for their own agendas. The once good reputation of that person/company dies as they become infected by leeches. MrBeast has been in stage 2 for a while. His wealth and influence has attracted leeches and his companies are infected." And then another post in March of 2024 with the title, "Waste Generated by MrBeast" on the MrBeast subreddit, where he continues, "I get it. There's always some resource cost for entertainment. MrBeast is one of the few entertainment companies that actually offsets their negative impacts with positive ones, philanthropy." And then he attaches an image to a Dogpack404 tweet, which some of it's cut out, so I'm just going to read the entire thing for you guys. It's a reply to his original cease and desist response that he made the day that he received the cease and desist on July 31st, where he goes over some updates, and Dogpack says, "Some updates. I was originally going to expose MrBeast's philanthropy efforts being more for aiding private interests and boosting MrBeast's image than actually doing anything good, but in that investigation I came across something far more damning that no one else has ever found. Parts 2 will be far more damning to MrBeast's career than Parts 1. As for MrBeast's large fundraiser TeamSeas, it's pretty well known that it had no statistically significant impact on ocean pollution. Still, people will say, well, it's still better than nothing. This is a drastic oversimplification that doesn't factor in the money, time, efforts, and carbon costs associated with raising the money and removing the trash. Also, where did the trash go? Landfills, where over time it will break down into microplastics that blow back into the ocean? Or recycling plants? Do your own research on why recycling is a lie. TeamSeas also promoted the false narrative that plastic pollution is a problem solvable by people." Then the thread continues where Dogpack says, "In this interview with Marquise Brownlee, MrBeast even acknowledges that it was not actually about the impact of removing 30 million pounds of trash, but TeamSeas was frequently advertised as a way to save the ocean." And then here's the clip.
It's not necessarily about the 30 million pounds. It's about the inspiration. It's about the positive net influence of people coming together and demonstrating something powerful. So,
yep. And just showing that people care, honestly.
Yeah. And then he continues, "TeamSeas was frequently advertised as a way to save the ocean, but in all of TeamSeas' marketing material, they never once addressed how corporations and governments contribute to the issue." And then here is another clip that he attaches.
"Why should the internet care about TeamSeas?"
Well, I mean, if you care about the ocean, you should care about TeamSeas.
We're saving the oceans in 2 ways.
You help us save the ocean. I'm trying to raise some money to help save the ocean. I'm gonna lie and go with it so we, raise money to save the ocean. If you want to see me and Mark Rober suffer and save the ocean, you gotta save the ocean."
And then he continues, "This video uploaded by TeamSeas 3 weeks ago continues to push the false narrative through intentionally vague claims. TeamSeas is proof that when a huge amount of people get together to help make things better on this planet, big things can happen. No, at Mark Rober, TeamSeas proved the exact opposite. It proved that even when there was a Herculean efforts to reduce plastic pollution, even when all of the largest influencers on the internet rallied their audience towards a cleanup solution, it did not make any positive difference."
TeamSeas is proof that when a huge amount of people get together to help make things better on this planet, big things can happen.
Shut up, bitch! Oh my God!
MrBeast and Mark Rober also went to promote single-use plastic garbage. This video by Stay Honest goes more into depth on this. Mark, I like that your content promotes STEM to kids. You seem like a nice guy, but come on. You should know firsthand that cleanup efforts like TeamSeas are useless. And this problem is only solvable through regulatory action, like banning unnecessary single-use plastics. And then he attaches this image and this image here, showing NFTs for TeamSeas. And then Dogpack continues, so why did TeamSeas never mention corporate pollution or push for a ban on unnecessary single-use plastics, and instead push the narrative that this problem is solvable by people and cleanup efforts? Could it be that 50% of the money went to a Peter Thiel-funded startup whose largest sponsor is Coca-Cola? And then attaches these two images, this one here and this one here, where it says that they lied. Plastic producers deceived the public about recycling. Companies knew for decades recycling was not viable, but promoted it regardless. And then there's two more tweets where he just talks about the problems with plastic pollution. I'm just going to show them on screen. I'm not going to read all of it, but here is the tweets and the images attached. Then there's two posts that seem to be deleted by Dogpack, and then it continues to him talking about more single-use plastic stuff. So again, here it is on screen if you wish to read it, with the images attached. And then finally he says, anyway, this was kind of an unstructured rant, probably full of spelling mistakes. I wrote this high, but I wanted to address how TeamSeas was a complete joke, explain the scale of plastic pollution and why it's such a big issue, and offer a potential solution. Also, yeah, part 2 is going in a different direction. When it comes out, MrBeast is 100% done. Copenseed writes, he made a ton of comments highly critical of MrBeast in the months before he tried getting a job there, including claiming that a MrBeast challenge induced Stockholm Syndrome in its contestants. And then Copenseed attaches a picture of Dogpack replying to a post about MrBeast chocolate, saying, meh, influencer businesses are especially bad. The products are always garbage. Name one influencer product that would be successful without the influencer. And then a post made on December 21st on the MrBeast subreddit with the title, Meta, why the comment section is so heavily moderated. And then it continues saying, doors were open. Yeah, if you want to lose $250,000, why would anyone ever complain about workplace harassment when they can just quit? Obviously, there's a monetary incentive to stay. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I'm just saying the premise of trapping two strangers together in hopes they fall in love for a YouTube video is ethically questionable, if that was the intention, as implied by the post I was responding to. There was no insinuation. I speculated on what the intention of the video was. Maybe I shouldn't have, but it's not discussing anyone's personal lives or choices. It's all public. If you want people to know what rules they're breaking, perhaps you should tell them in the mod comments, instead of in the generic copy-paste that it doesn't often apply. And then another post on the why the comment section is so heavily moderated post where he says, I'll throw an example of a comment I made that the mods removed. It has nothing to do with anyone's personal lives or choices. It's purely criticism of the latest video. And then he quotes his comment saying, the challenge basically induces Stockholm Syndrome where you're forced to be with a person in a mentally exhausting environment. Would be easy for one contestant to take advantage of the other. Essentially, you have to date me or I'll leave and you'll lose $250,000. Crazy power dynamic. Criticism is no longer allowed here, unfortunately. And then a post titled MrBeast and CGI where that 5-head guy says, yeah, the MrBeast brand had an incredible reputation for authenticity that they completely threw out the window in pursuit of make the best videos possible by using scripts and manipulative editing. Personally, I wish they wouldn't fake things. It worked in the Squid Game video because the CGI was only aesthetic and MrBeast was transparent about the use of it. Now you can't trust anything you see as real. This was on December 21st, 2023, by the way. Then Copenseed continues saying, I'm sure Jimmy and the team at MrBeast would have been so excited to work with someone who thought this of them. Showing on January 1st of 2024, that 5-head guy responded to a post titled, had a wild dream for an original video idea, and his response was, great idea, but MrBeast should also compete. I think it would be a humbling experience. And replying to another thread titled, what's a MrBeast related opinion that will make you go like this? And that 5-head guy says, I think his company is full of non-creative leeches. And then Copenseed says, moving back to Maine again, one thing that's interesting but strange was the inclusion of Coffeezilla regarding MrBeast's crypto scams. Originally was supposed to be his part 2 video, and he references coffee in his documents, which he later removed. And then Copenseed shows that in Dogpack's current public version of the MrBeast exposed document, it says this, but that's not what it said in the archive link I covered last week. So I had a question about this for Dogpack, which I will show in a second. And then Copenseed attaches a second image, which is a Reddit reply on his AMA, Dogpack's AMA. where it starts off with someone asking him, have you thought about contacting Coffeezilla? And Dogpack responds, oh, you know, I might be in contact with some of his people. Hey, Jimmy, how well do you hide your crypto ventures? And so I reached out to Dogpack to clarify why this was removed. And continuing my questioning on this thread, I said, got you. And then in regards to the document, I was originally misinformed on the entire thing being deleted. However, there are 2 sections that are removed from your public version and only available through archives. One, the Coffeezilla reference in the crypto section, which I will show on screen here. And 2, the original email you sent to the place MrBeast allegedly trashed. Why were they removed? And he responded, I was talking to someone who does research for coffee at the time, but then he got all roped up into the Logan Paul lawsuit, and it would have taken him months to investigate the crypto thoroughly, so he just passed, and I didn't want people to like tweet at him or anything. And just as a quick side tangent for context as to what happened last week with my last video about me being misinformed, I figured I would show you guys the full conversation of what happened between my source and I, and to show you Dogpack's DMs we had together afterwards. Last week I introed my video saying this. A trusted YouTuber source sent me a now deleted document that Dogpack404 publicly posted after initially releasing his very first video on MrBeast. This document outlines a bunch of new accusations against Jimmy and gives context to the ones that he's already made. Allegedly, according to the source, this was deleted shortly after Dogpack's video came out, around when it probably had 80,000 views or so. So in an unrelated group chat, this person was just making commentary on this document that they had found, and so I reached out to them on Discord. I said, hey, where is this Dogpack404 document? Then they sent me this ghost archive link here, and then I said, archive link, did he delete this? And the source responded, it's basically his script, yes, telling me yes, that Dogpack did delete this. I said, oh shit, where was it originally posted? Or is it leaked? And my source responded, no, he posted this. And I said, damn, yeah, there's some crazy stuff in here, lol. Last Q, when did he post this? Do you know? And my source said, with his video's release. And then he deleted it because criticism, probably when the video had like 80K views or something. And just for context, even though I'm not putting them on blast, this is a, big commentary YouTuber. It's someone who, like I said, I trusted them. And I'm still taking accountability because even though they told me this, I still should have done more research myself. I shouldn't have just ran with it. I could have reached out to Dogpack myself or verified it. So, I'm taking the L on that. That's my fault. I should have done better research there. So it is what it is. Happens. Obviously a misunderstanding on my part, but that's transparency for you guys. So there you go. And so after I posted this, Dogpack404 himself reached out to me to clarify a couple things, and I'll read you guys the messages that he sent me. He messaged me saying, I saw your video, and then he linked the evidence document, which was on his Twitter. This was about over a month ago, and it's up here in his replies. Like I said, I missed it. It was posted July 24th. And he continues in his DM saying, here's the link to the doc. It's not deleted, but there were deleted segments from that video. That doc also has some more stuff I added later that the archived doc doesn't have. If you post the vid on your Twitter, I'll reply with the deleted Antichrist segment. It's funny. So of course I was like, well shit. Okay, let me respond back to him. I said, oh shit, my fault. I was told that this whole doc was deleted by a trusted source and didn't see it when I skimmed through your Twitter. So that's on me. I should have looked harder. I can change the title if you're worried about that. He said, title is good. There is a lot of deleted footage from that project. And I said, okay, gotcha. I made the tweet if you still want to post your deleted segments. But anyway, back to my Twitter, I ended up tweeting out about the situation. I said, the crazy deleted MrBeast exposed video, Dogpack404's full evidence document shows a lot of allegations against MrBeast that it didn't make the final cut, including crypto scams, fake philanthropy, and a section where some think MrBeast might be working with Satan, video below. And then I linked my video here, and then Dogpack did as he said he would, where he replied with the deleted Antichrist segment. He said, I don't believe it, but if Jimmy starts marking people, I'm a pass. Okay, side tangent over. Let's get back to the thread by Cope and Seethe. And then finally, here is Dogpack making claims towards MrBeast over several other things with no evidence, including tax evasion and promoting Prism on Reddit while arguing with a random. Prism being this guy who originally exposed and blew up the whole Chris Tyson story. Then he attaches an image of a Reddit thread where it starts off with Artistic Risk saying, do you believe the only element of corruption is the intention to make their videos addictive? And Dogpack responds, not even close. I think MrBeast could be investigated by the IRS, FTC, SEC, FBI, and OSHA, and each organization would find its own unique case of corruption. The problem is that corrupt higher-ups at the company can't get fired, because if they do, they'll go to Time magazine and destroy the whole company, so Jimmy is in an impossible position. Internally, people understand that the house of cards has to collapse. And Artistic Risk responds saying, so what other pieces of corruptions would you say are present? How else are they corrupt? And Dogpack says tax evasion, illegal lotteries, fraud, crypto scams, inappropriately interacting with children, horrible safety compliance, just overall terrible production practices, etc. Hard to explain everything broadly. It's the largest game show in the world, and they don't follow the regulations that traditional game shows have to follow. Artistic Risk continues saying, may I ask why you haven't gone to the authorities about this? And Dogpack says, fair question. I guess I just think they wouldn't do anything. I mean, I know other former employees who have gone to the media, and even right now, one of MrBeast's co-stars, Chris Tyson, is being accused of owning illegal depictions of you know what, and the evidence is strong, but authorities getting involved seems unlikely. And then there is a continued thread where someone named Plop McG33 says, okay, cool, I can understand why they fired you, to be honest. Failure to understand basic instructions. But have any actual proof that you did work for him? And Dogpack responds, you have poor reading comprehension and are defending someone who bought and distributed S illustrations of minors, as well as sent S suggestive messages and Snapchats to a minor. I think I'm good on sending you any of my info, bro. And Plop quotes part of the claim that Dogpack made and said, oh cool, a new claim. Is this pulled out of your ass like you working for MrBeast, or is there actual screenshots of this? And then MrBeast shows the video by Prism, and then Plop responds, oh, I saw a bit of this. It's the video of the one transphobe who touched grass. Yeah, this dude does not seem trustworthy at all, to be honest. Man, it's so weird that all this information seems to be coming from transphobic people. Wonder why. And that is the entire thread, so thank you guys for listening.